Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another Gaming News Weekly Live. It's been a while. It's been a while. It's been a couple weeks since I did Gaming News Weekly. I'm starting it a little early. I know we like 2 or 3 minutes early. I usually do this at 1 o'clock. Actually, I'm fucking 6 minutes early. Holy shit! But I mean, let's get into Gaming News Weekly, bro. We got a lot to talk about. There's rumors PlayStation 5 Slim. That motherfucker looked weird. It looked like the PlayStation 5, bro, just half as big. Still the same tall. I don't know if they're going to go like that. Everybody seen how big the fucking heatsink was, and they cut it down. It's still big as fuck. So I don't know if their cooling is going to be enough because hey, that Evo tournament showed that PlayStation 5 cooling, they should have kept that heatsink big as hell. They should have kept all that heatsink because the shit that they cut out, some of them PS5s are not running right. There's crazy news of Rockstar game. Oh my gosh. Rockstar is like they're one of the realest gaming companies out there. They know they're about the money. Everybody knows they're about the money, but for some reason you can't knock what they're doing. Like you don't have to like it, but you can knock what they're doing. Then there's news on the Xbox side, bro. Motherfucking Forza Horizon. I mean Forza Motorsport. Come on now, bro. That's not even controversy at this point. People are just making things up. Not even controversy at this point. It's outrageous. Baldur's Gate doing great things over there. Larian Studios. Respect to them. Nobody wanted to give them a chance, and they took it. They took their chance, and they're up. Larian Studios is up, and you gotta respect them. And other dudes though, Final Fantasy wasn't looking too good on the PlayStation only. But I mean, they didn't have to pay for marketing, so I guess they remade money on that. And but they saying, hey, Square Enix is still saying we ain't making enough on this Final Fantasy thing, bro. We might have to branch out. We already know they are. They're going to PC next week. I mean next year. Are they coming to Xbox with it? Who knows, bro? Who knows? But I got my water with me, so you know I'm ready to talk. It is crazy in gaming. It is crazy in gaming. Square Enix saying that they didn't make enough money on Final Fantasy, it always makes sense that way. Square Enix never makes enough money on no game that comes out. We already know they're gonna be like, we didn't hit sales targets. I don't know who's setting the fucking sales targets at Square Enix, but they guys need to be fired. Square Enix needs to find a new analyst or something because nobody hits sales targets. They could sell 10 million, still didn't meet sales targets. So developers don't get their bonus. They really just be hoeing developers like that. I don't know if that's a Japanese studio thing or Square Enix specifically is just real bad at managing fucking expectations, but they don't know what they're doing over there. Then you sign exclusivity to PS5. There's 40 million of them out there. But then you gotta understand, they're one of their fucking next gen only games only sold 1 million. Square. What did you expect to get from the PlayStation 5 when PlayStation fans didn't even buy PlayStation games? You thought Square Enix fans were going to buy a Final Fantasy game that was nothing like any Final Fantasy game before it, with a bland story, some bland characters, and a fake open world at 720p 60. Square, bro. I mean, people did buy it because Sony's marketing is a masterwork, bro. They're a masterclass at making things look better than they actually are, and people bought the game. But then news came out, and they people stopped buying the fucking game. So what did Square do? They say we didn't hit our sales targets. Of fucking course you didn't. The game wasn't good. You fooled the critics. You fooled a couple fans, and then everybody started talking on the internet. The internet kills games now. Hey, what's good, Bavari? I don't think we're gonna be live streaming too long today. I'm not gonna try to anyway. It usually kind of goes too long. Cause I usually try to keep gaming news weekly, so like an hour, hour and a half. Sometimes we be in here like 2.5 hours talking about gaming, and it just ends up like that. But yeah, I need to start keeping these shorter or do these earlier in the day. Cause I mean I be having time. I just set these at 1 o'clock because it feels like a good time. But yeah, I was just talking about Square Enix talking about how they didn't hit sales targets on PS5, and I'm like, what the hell did they expect, bro? What did they expect when nobody bought Ratchet and Clank? Nobody bought Returnal. Nobody bought Demon Souls remake. All those games sold subparly for Sony, and then Square Enix really thought they were gonna get people to buy Final Fantasy just with the Sony name alone. It's crazy, bro. Nobody's buying Sony's games. Of course, they're not gonna buy Square Enix's games. Well, Square sold more than Sony did for three of their big games. Square outsold them for sure. You said they support their games to all platforms at launch. See, from what I heard, the only reason they didn't port Final Fantasy on every console is because Sony told them we'll pay for marketing if you give us exclusivity for this game. So since Square Enix didn't have to spend their marketing budget on marketing the game, Sony took care of all of it. Sony got exclusivity for the game. And I'm like, what? That was it. Sony just pays for marketing and I guess pays for exclusivity for a timed part because it is coming to PC. We all know that's the thing. It's launching on PC next year, so I think it's only going to be exclusive to PlayStation for 6 months, and then it's going to PC. How long is it going to be exclusive to PlayStation before it comes to Xbox? We don't know. But that's kind of been the thing. Yeah, Sony's money is never enough. A lot of people say that, but with the PlayStation 4, it kind of worked out for some people, especially for like Final Fantasy 7 when that bitch sold like 7 million in like 3 days. It was crazy because Final Fantasy 7 is a big game, and then they remade it. It wasn't too different from the original, even though they made it a third-person action game. People still love Cloud and Tifa and the other girl name. I forget her name. But yeah, people love those characters, so of course they bought that game. Final Fantasy 16 was not Final Fantasy 7. So Final Fantasy 7 being exclusive to PlayStation is gonna sell well again. Because people are already in there. They even sold the DLC exclusively on a PS5. as a separate thing for $70. It's Sony does some wild shit over there. You said Final Fantasy 7 launched 6 years after the PS4, not 3 years. Oh no, I wasn't talking about when it launched. I was talking about it came out. Well, yeah, yeah. Because Sony was already into the generation dominating the market. Right now, 40 million consoles sold is what Sony told everybody. But how many of those consoles are active? That is the question that nobody really can answer. Because remember, Sony were selling tens of millions of consoles the first 2 years, but no fans had a PS5 yet. So where was all those millions of consoles being sold to? Scalpers with warehouses full of PS5s trying to resell them. That's exactly what the hell was happening. So 40 million consoles sold worldwide, but Ratchet and Clank only sold 1 million copies. You said how many people are interested in Final Fantasy on PS5? Not enough from what it seems. I mean, 3 million. They got 3 million people. That's actually quite a bit. But that's not even 25% of the PlayStation population. If we're looking at how many PS5 consoles are out there, not even 25% of the people cared about Final Fantasy. That like those metrics are still wild. Like people were here like, oh, 1 million people bought the game, 3 million people bought the game, but that is nobody compared to how many people could be buying that game. But if their sales metrics was like 10 million and nobody bought it, yeah, Square Enix stay complaining about sales. I was saying it a little bit earlier. Like Square Enix needs a new analyst because whoever's charting these sales targets don't know how these games work, how the gaming industry is at this moment, because they haven't hit sales targets yet. Outriders came out, didn't hit sales targets. Uh, Guardians of the Galaxy came out, didn't hit sales targets. Final Fantasy came out, didn't hit sales targets. Fucking bro, we don't even need to talk about Forspoken. They shut down the whole studio. Shut down the whole studio with Forspoken. So I mean, somebody who's managing Square sales don't know what the fuck they're doing. They don't know what they're doing. They're not making enough money putting these games out, or they're not charging Sony enough money to keep them exclusive. Those are one or two things that are going on. Either they're giving Sony a discount because they think they're going to get more sales than they actually get. If Sony's like, oh, we can get you like 10 mil, and they only got 3. No, it's not working. You said thank God they sold their Western studios. Yeah, they did to Embracer Group. Hopefully they do something with those. Cause like Tomb Raider, Deus Ex was a weird ass game. I tried to play it. The controls are so weird to me that I just can't like the game. It's not the game's bad. It's just I can't like I don't like the way the game feels and controls. So I just stopped playing it. I didn't like how the game felt. But yeah, they sold the Western studios because they knew they weren't gonna get anything out of that. You said they just aren't happy until they make $1 billion. So many companies aren't happy. I mean, yeah, that's a thing about gaming industry, like big game companies. They just want to make as much money as they can off one game instead of making more games. They want everybody to play one game for 6 years and they make $20 billion off that game every year. That is what they want. And it's like, bitch, go be creative. Make me something I want to play, bro. Make me something I want to buy. But no studio is doing it right now because they all is in this to make money like Fortnite is making. They're all trying to be Fortnite in some type of fucking way, but none of them realize Fortnite failed when it started. The Fortnite people love today wasn't the Fortnite that Epic created. Epic created Fortnite to be a motherfucking tower defense game. That launched. Nobody bought it. Nobody played it. So they made Fortnite Battle Royale with building in it. People don't remember that part. People just remember Fortnite making all this money and being this big ass game with all these crossovers in it. Fortnite started as a game nobody wanted to play. Epic just so happened to create a mode in that game that people actually wanted to play, and that boosts Fortnite name to what it is today. Nobody else is going to be like Fortnite, bro. Nobody's getting a turnaround like that. Epic got lucky with that. They're the only people that's going to do it. But every game company wants to be Fortnite. Every game company think they can be fucking Fortnite. Think they can be Epic Games. You can't. Nobody played fucking Fortnite when you was tower defensing. When you had to put fucking traps up and wait for the zombies to come attack your base. Nobody played that shit, bro. That shit was garbage. It was a trash idea. It was a trash game. It was poorly implemented. And then Fortnite Battle Royale took the world by fucking storm. That was it. That was it. Every company can't do that. They need to go back to being creative. Go back to making games that your fans wanted you to make. And you make money on them fans. That was what the gaming industry used to be. Now everybody wants every game to be the same. They like, oh, every game needs these features. Every game needs this concept. Every game needs a stealth element. Get that shit the fuck out of here. There used to be stealth games. There used to be games made that you play stealth games. If you didn't like stealth games, you didn't play those games. Now every game you can crouch and sneak in. What the fuck am I crouching and sneaking in every fucking game now? Fuck that shit. If they put crouching and sneaking in fucking Doom, that game's dead. The game's dead. Because niggas that want to play Doom don't want to crouch and sneak. They want to rip and tear, bro. If you put crouching and sneaking in fucking Doom, nobody's playing that shit. I barely got past the fucking the platforming that they put in the game. Yeah, devs don't want to put an effort in to make a good game no more. Not a great game no more. And that's why Larian Studios right now is the biggest name in gaming. Out of fucking nowhere. Larian already made good games. We already know Larian made good games. But Baldur's Gate 3 is so developed for their fans that people don't know how to react to a developer that actually cared about what their fans wanted to have in the game. Developers are on Twitter scared. They're like, oh, we can't hold our same standard of Larian Studios. Why not? Y'all make more money than Larian Studios. Y'all could make a game for y'all fans to love. Larian Studios has the highest rated game of all time in Baldur's Gate 3. They have millions of people playing it concurrently at the same time. Not many games can say they can, especially for an RPG that's story-based, not a multiplayer game. It is crazy. It's unprecedented what Larian has done to the gaming industry. And now everybody's scared. And it's like, bitch, go make a game people want to play. Larian made a game that their fans want to play. Are they going to hit big with the mainstream? Maybe, maybe not. But they're going to succeed in where they wanted to. And that's to make a CRPG motherfuckers wanted to play. Will everybody else buy their game? Yeah. It's getting the same. It's getting the same thing as Miyazaki. Because remember, Miyazaki was making good games for a long time. Then they made Bloodborne for PlayStation. PlayStation fans cared about Miyazaki. But then Miyazaki made Sekiro. It was Game of the Year, but nobody cared. Nobody cared. It wasn't Game of the Year. Nobody cared, bro. But when Elden Ring came out and everybody fucking cared, it was a new bar set for open world games. Everybody that made open world games before that was looking at it like, no, we can't do that. Why the fuck not, bro? Why can't you have a good paced game with some good combat and no microtransactions for a good price? Oh no, we can't do that. That's not no, nigga. This is what we want. Everybody wants a game that's a game. Like Elden Ring, nothing else attached to it. They don't need no bullshit ass fucking multiplayer attachment coming soon. No, just build the game and launch that bitch and make sure it fucking works. That is all fans ask for in the game. But then games still came out broken and battered. Why the fuck? What are y'all working on, bro? These developers don't care what they're putting out, and that's mostly the problem. And then there's a lot of people blame the Series S, like, oh, the Series S is holding back gaming. No, nigga, because Diablo 4 still came out and it was a really good fucking game until you get to the end game and everything's fucking grinded out and boring as shit. But the story of the game is still really good. The MMO aspects of the game is trad, but that shit runs on the Series S. That shit has multiplayer, split screen on the Series S. It can be done. Not everybody has the talent for that. Or everybody just don't want to put in the fucking work and effort for it. That is the impasse that we come through when we see developers make games nowadays. Because every developer could be doing what Larian Studios is doing. But they're trying to make excuses on why they can't. Like, oh, we don't have the pedigree of making games so in depth and so deep and so why not? Go to the drawing board, start writing some shit, and make a good fucking game. Nothing's original nowadays. They're making remakes, remasters, re-releases in a sense of like Rockstar. And they're just trying to make a profit on as little work as possible. But when people like Miyazaki come out and he makes a new game, Elden Ring, and it blows the fuck up, one of the highest rated games of all time, and it sells well, they're looking like, fuck, bro, do we actually have to put effort in? But then Sony comes out with God of War. That shit sells like 10 million in 3 days. And they didn't do a damn thing to the fucking game, but continue the story they already wrote. And you're like, oh, well, back to the status quo. We can make walking simulator games again. Not real action in them. Set pieces. And then you go. Breath of the Wild comes out, completely revolutionized what the fuck Nintendo's doing over there with Zelda. Completely changed mechanics of the game. The whole game is fucking weird. And it worked. People love that shit. And they looking like, oh, fuck. But then Redfall comes out. And it's trash. Because it's a generic ass open world game. And people's like, okay, back to the status quo. We don't really have to try that hard. But now Larian is here. With Baldur's Gate 3. One of the biggest, most ambitious games to date. At this moment. And developers are fucking scared again. Because now everybody wants a game with as much detail and as much effort as Larian Studios put into Baldur's Gate 3. Which is the right thing to want. There's no reason why big name developers can't do it. There's not a single fucking reason why a big name developer can't do it. There's small developers that have been doing this shit for ages. You said Baldur's Gate and Elden Ring are made by non-US studios. I mean, that is exactly what it's looking like. Because Sony's developers are in America. They're all American studios and they all make the same type of game. Xbox got studios all around the world. They don't have only American studios, but like most of their studios that do well are not American based. Most of them are like in Canada somewhere. Like they're not US studios. I mean, Bethesda's coming with Starfield, but we already knew Starfield was coming. We already knew Starfield was gonna be ambitious as shit and all of that. But that's not really Xbox's thing. That was gonna be Todd Howard's thing, whether Xbox bought them or not. It was just where the fuck the game was gonna be played is what changed that. So yeah, there's developing studios that will put that effort in. Like even fucking CD Project Red, even though fucking Cyberpunk failed, it took a nosedive when it came out because it just couldn't fucking run. The concept of the game of Cyberpunk was a great thing. It was a thing they wanted to do, and they had an idea to get this shit done. It just did. They didn't execute it well, but the ambition was there. The drive was there. They just needed more talent. They just needed more talent, bro, or more time. Either one of those things, and that game could have been amazing. It could have been one of the best rated games of all time. It could have been one of the biggest games of all time. It just fell flat on its face because it just wasn't done. It wasn't done. But Cyberpunk was a driven game, and it wasn't a U.S. studio. I think it's just U.S. studios. I'm pretty sure that U.S. studios don't want to put that much effort in because we see we see that Grand Theft Auto 6 is a game we've been waiting on for like 10 years, 11 years. It's been a long time. Still don't know shit about GTA 6, but Red Dead Redemption is getting re-released. It's getting re-released, and I'm not mad at the re-release because they don't really have to do anything because I mean Sony and Nintendo don't be doing shit either when they re-release games. You said US publishers are getting more greedy. Yeah, they're getting more and more greedy. EA is starting to shape up because they're noticing they're not making no fucking money. They're noticing they're not making money. So they're kind of got they kind of shaping up a little bit. They still got FIFA and shit going. Well, they don't have the FIFA name no more. They lost that. What is it called now? Football Club? EA Football Club? Just generic soccer? But yeah, EA is starting to try to fix that shit. Activision got bought by Xbox. So hopefully the greed ends. Because Activision don't need money no more. They never really needed the money, but now they really don't need the money no more. They're gonna get carried. Take Two, on the other hand, the power they have in names, the branding that they have over there at Take Two is what gets kind of outrageous because they have 2K, which 2K owns basketball, the most egregious sports game of all time. People might blame FIFA or Madden, but 2K is the most egregious game of all time, bro. You literally have to buy VC to love your character because you don't make enough money in the game. Or you got to play the game for like 20 hours a day, every day, for fucking 6 months to love your character when niggas really just buy VC and level up. That's really how that game is built. You have to pay to play this game and be good at it. And then they have Rockstar, which GTA Online. Oh my goodness. Shark cards. They keep adding these add-on packs, and then things cost billions of dollars, and you can't even make billions of dollars in this fucking game. So what do? You go buy a shark card. Sony, bro, SIE is like the Sony that we know today. It's the American side of Sony Interactive Entertainment. They're based out of Santa Monica, in California, USA. Sony hasn't been Japanese since the PlayStation 3, bro. They haven't been Japanese since the PlayStation 3. That's why they shut down their Japan studios. That's why they censor all the Japanese content when it comes to PlayStation. They're not a Japanese company. They haven't been a Japanese company for a long time. They moved they UK company to the United States, and they've been a United States company ever since. That's why they work hard for that US dollar, bro. That's why they market Spider-Man in New York City on trains. They also woke. That's a talk for another time. But yeah, Sony has they've been westernized. And they're pulling Square Enix in with them. But then you see actually Nintendo doing Japanese things. And that shit is good. And that shit sells. It's profitable. And they conquered Japan. Why? Because they understand what the Japanese people want. You're a Japanese company. Sony's trying to pedal to the American dollar so much that they lose sight of everything else. But I mean, movie games is working. because niggas don't want to play games no more. Not put effort into play games no more. And they would play the same thing over and over again. So they go from Uncharted to Horizon to God of War, and all three of those games are exactly the fucking same. Thoughts on the PS5 short? I mean, that shit did not look real to me. That picture that came out of the word like oddly slim. Yeah, the oddly slim PS5 did not look real, bro. It looked 3D printed to hell. It didn't look like an actual console that can run. That shit looked so. It looked so strange. It looked exactly like a PS5 cut in half, and then they just paste the two fucking plates together. It was the weirdest shit I ever seen, bro. That can't be real. The design architecture of the PS5. He said, "You better believe it's real." There's no way that's real, bro. There's no actual way. If that's real, Sony, I'm fucked up. Where the fuck did Mark Cerny go? Where the hell did Mark Cerny go? Because he was supposed to be the engineer of the PS5, bro. The Evo tournament, the PS5s were overheating niggas' fucking capture cards and shit. The PS5 was literally lighting on fire at Sony's own fighting game event. What the fuck is going on with the PS5, bro? Where the fuck is Mark Cerny? He built that hoe. People talk about the Xbox. Project Q made me believe everything. Oh my god, the fucking Wii U for the PS5. That shit's so dirty. It's literally a screen with a DualSense pasted on it. just taped on the fucking sides of it. It's so bad. That shit is poorly designed. I ain't even gonna fake it. That shit is badly designed. But hey, if Sony fans buy it, I seen some people, they were arguing about the PlayStation VR 2. Because Sony dropped PlayStation VR 2, nobody bought it, and they still don't have any games come out for it. They still don't have games coming out for that fucking thing. And it's like, Sony, why did you make a VR 2 if you wasn't gonna support this hoe? Where the fuck did the games go for PlayStation VR 2? Yeah, that shit was dead when it launched. They already didn't hit none of the sales targets. And they was like, oh, we're gonna sell 5 million. You didn't even sell 5 million of PlayStation VR 1. VR 2 was destined to fail, and Sony is feeling it. And it's like, why did you even launch that hardware, bro? Why did you even launch that hardware? Didn't even make it backwards compatible. They was like, hey, fuck everybody that bought a VR 1. Buy them bitches again. Dash is dumb. Dash is... I don't know what the fuck Sony does over there. I know it's easy to be like, oh, Xbox. The Series S is holding back gaming. Come on now, bro. That shit's crazy. I did a video. What day was that? Because I reacted to Doc's video about Forza Motorsport. And he was talking how the game was unfinished and how they were cutting things out and it's the Series S's fault. And when I looked that shit the fuck up, they were talking about spectating and split screen. And I was like, there's no fucking way this is what he's mad about. And that really is what he's mad about. Hey, what's good, Mo? That's really what the fuck Doc was mad about. And I was so confused, bro. Because I'm like, are those things you can really... He's talking about they're not using the full power of the X because they took out spectator mode? Because they removed split screen? I understand the split screen thing. Like, if you really want split screen in your games and they don't give it to you, I mean, you can be upset. But they're talking like this is a staple feature that has to be in every fucking game. There's no fucking way. Forza Motorsport, a single player driving game, needs split screen in it. It doesn't fucking need it. If they want to put an arcade, I mean, not, well, I usually call it arcade mode, but like if they want to put like the offline driving mode in later, why the fuck can they not do that? It's not like you're going to have to pay for it anyway. If you bought Forza Motorsport and you played that shit to play the campaign where you racing all these big ass races, how many tracks did they say they have? with fucking live events going on all at the same time, with ray tracing, with like 360 fucking cars, or it's like 500 cars. This is a crazy ass number like that. But niggas got the nerve to cry about spectating in split screen. They're doing so much magnificent shit with this game, and they're crying about split screen being taken out. Is not using the power of the Series X, and I'm like, this gotta be nonsense, bro. That gotta be some clickbait. That has to be something to get engagement because there's no fucking way that's an actual thing you're complaining about. There's no fucking way there's an actual thing you can complain about. They took away spectating, like in driving. I'm not even good at fucking simulation racing games, but when I play a sim racer, I'm playing that shit to fucking win, not to spectate somebody driving better than me. I don't know who the fuck is actually doing this shit, but they're not playing games, bro. That is not a gamer complaining right there. That is that is a content creator complaining. There is no way. Because that's the same thing people were saying about fucking Halo. Halo's a bad game because they took out split screen. They didn't give it to you. But it's still a full open world Halo game with Master Chief, a great story written for Chief ass, and the game's fun. The game's different from every Halo game before. But oh, they didn't give me my split screen. It's a bad game. It's unfinished. What? Yeah, that's the thing, bro. People love watching shit and not actually playing games, bro. They don't really fucking play games. And that I'm starting to notice that when I see people complain about things online. Like, are you doing this to get people to watch you complain? Or are you doing this because those are things you use in the game? No, they're doing it to get people to watch them complain, bro. Because they're not actually going to play the game anyway. Like complaining about Starfield being at 30 frames, it's one thing. Because if you want to play it at higher frame rates on your Xbox Series X and they just can't fucking do it, or it can, but they just didn't want to do that to their game, you can be mad about that because that's a style that you want to usually do to play a game. But you know you could just buy a PC and play that game at 60. If you bought it on Xbox, you get it on PC for free. It's not really that big of a deal when it really comes to playing that game at higher frame rates because the console is going to output what the console outputs. We know that. And Starfield is the first next-gen game where you actually need next-gen hardware to use it. Even on PC. You can't just run that shit on any fucking thing. You can't just run that shit on anything. They literally tell your ass, put it on an SSD or this bitch not running right because that's what they need. Not that's what they recommend. That's what they fucking need, bro. But they're not even going to play the game to begin with. They just want to look at it and say like, look how good my game is. Yeah, Final Fantasy 16 literally was running at 20 frames per second. Literally running at 720p. But you know what everybody did? Everybody that gave that game a fucking 90 and 100 on Metacritic, they played that shit at 4K 30 and they enjoyed themselves. Everybody else that bought the game, the 3 million people that bought the game, played that bitch at 4K 30 and enjoyed themselves. The only people that complained about the game are the ones that wasn't going to play it to begin with. They just wanted to hear the buzzwords of the game and be like, oh, it doesn't have this buzzword. This game's trash. It doesn't have this buzzword. I mean, the game ran bad. It ran horribly. They should have put out a better game. But if the 4K 30 mode is what people was going to play anyway, why did it matter for them to put it at 60 frames? Besides people complaining online about it being at 60. It didn't even run at 60. But not enough people complained about it to actually make it a significant dent in the gaming media. Because everybody's going, all right, I'll just put it at 30 frames per second. The same thing happened with Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Jedi Survivor came out and everybody played that bitch at 4K 30. Why? Because 60 frames didn't even fucking work. Why did they put that mode in the game to begin with? Because they needed the buzzwords. Stop the what? Stop the what? There's no way, bro. There's so many developers that got so much out the Series S. Look at the Metro developers right now. They ain't made a game in a minute. But when Metro Exodus came out, that shit was 14. This shit was 1440p 60 on the Series S. They put ray tracing in that hoe on the Series S. That's wild. That's crazy shit. But not every developer is the Metro developer. Not every developer can do what the other people can do. You said remember the good old days when they were playing games at 720p, 15 FPS on the 360. I mean, yeah. You said last gen games. I mean, Starfield is going to be the only next gen game to release in all this time. Starfield is going to be the only one, and that's just 30 frames for a reason. If it's truly next gen, the only thing next gen is consoles. That game is built on a high powered PC. What is these consoles going to do compared to that? Not a damn thing. But it can run on a Series S at 1440p at 30 frames per second. If it's stable, that's a good fucking thing. That's a good fucking thing. If they don't want to cut the fucking X down to 1440p to get it to run at 60 frames, why should they have to? They shouldn't. They get that bitch stable. They get it running. They get it looking good and playing good. You play the game. You enjoy the game. If they want to patch that shit 60 frames in 3 years, let them. Is it going to be a different game because the frame rate's higher? No. I have a PC. I played God of War at fucking 60 frames on my PC, and it still's a bad game. That shit's still boring as shit. It didn't make the game better because it ran higher. It looked better. The game was still boring as fuck, bro. It didn't change the game for anything. I still play my 360 games, bro. Some of them bitches run at 60 frames because Xbox did that. But if they didn't, I still would be playing them bitches. Because those were good games. I like those games. I was just playing Fear 2. I uploaded a video. That shit's still good. The gunplay still feels amazing. The story is still outrageously crazy. You think developers out here making Fear 2 nowadays? Fuck no, bro. They're making a Call of Duty clone and hoping that you play it. There's no creativity out here. And when people get creative, fanboys want to cry about it on Twitter. Cry about it on YouTube. Oh, you're doing this different. We don't like it. Bitch, we're trying to do something different. It's creative. Gamers take creativity away from creators, bro. Because they want to complain. Like, oh, these features are missing. Bitch, we don't want those features no more. Those features are obsolete. Let's get rid of them. Gamers are going to complain. Force them in. And then the game's bad. Because they have to force this shit in so gamers won't complain about it. Fuck no. Leave that shit out. Make a good fucking game. That's all I want because I want to play a good game. I don't want to play fucking features that I know I'm not going to use. Forge coming later was a good idea. Because I didn't fucking care about Forge. Yeah, I didn't fucking care about Forge. A lot of people do care about Forge. That's fine. But if you're going to play Forge later anyway, play Forge later. Beat the story. Beat the campaign. Have a good time. If you don't like multiplayer, don't play multiplayer. Come back to multiplayer when Forge comes. That's why they made multiplayer free and you bought the motherfucking campaign, bro. That's exactly why they did it. But then the fans derailed everything 343 had planned because everybody cried about Forge mode. They cried about multiplayer. They cried about fucking network co-op and split screen. And then they was like, okay, let's go focus on this shit. We was testing that shit for like 3-4 fucking months. And I mean, I got to play it. It was cool. But it wasn't worth it in the end because how many people actually went back through the story with their friend to play it again? Nobody. Because the story was one and done. You ran through that fucking world with Chief. You go batter some motherfucking Banish. Go find some codes. Launch the Spire a little bit. Like, the game's good. The game is still going to be good. With or without fucking split screen co-op. But I mean, we gonna see what happens when Forza comes out. If Forza comes out and it's a really good fucking game, and they cut out fucking spectator mode, fucking split screen, and what else did they cut out? It was it was a third thing. That's like, do they really need it? What the hell was it? The third thing that they cut out. I mean, I could look it up real quick because it was some like useless thing. It's some useless thing that they don't fucking need in the game. Or they could just literally put in the game later because that's how digital media works. What the hell was that they took out? It was AI racing. So you go race against the AI. There was another that was the third thing they took out. And I'm like, isn't isn't the whole game AI racing except when you play online? So why would they need two AI racing modes when the whole game is AI racing until you go race against real people? I don't know. I don't know. Why would they really need to put that in? And the Xboxes are built to only have one person playing them. They're not built for a family. They're not built to be the centerpiece of your living room. They're built for gamers to game on. One gamer to game on at a time, except if you're playing like a fighting game. And you just, play a fighting game with each other. But like if you're playing story games, if you're playing online multiplayer games, any of those, if you're playing anything made after the fucking 360 generation, the Xbox is gonna run that bitch for one person. And that's what it's built to do. To run shit for one person. I have 7 fucking games in Quick Resume right now. And they're all single player games. And you jump in between them bitches all the time. But if I log in, like if my brother log in and turn on my Xbox, he couldn't Quick Resume a single fucking game. Because he's not the one playing them. Starfield is gonna be a fucking masterpiece, bro. Starfield is gonna be a fucking masterpiece. I'm playing it on Xbox because I want to quick resume the game. I want to quick resume the game, so I'm definitely gonna be playing that shit on Xbox. I'm a boot it up on PC when it comes out because I want to see what the 30 frames and 60 frames difference actually gonna be. It's not gonna be anything for real. I know it's not gonna be anything because I play Skyrim right now and it's at 60 frames and it doesn't feel like a different game. It still feels like the same Skyrim I played in 2011. It doesn't feel different. So I mean, to each his own with the 60 frames, 30 frames thing because I know these niggas not really playing games. Every game that I played at 30 and I switched to 60, they all feel the fucking same except Call of Duty because things are moving faster. But for any game built to be 30 frames per second, they're going to be fine at 30 frames per second. They're going to be fine at 60 frames per second. They're not going to change dramatically. But yeah, 19 days, that is actually close. That is real close. 19 days is close as hell. I already got my pre-order in. That mode was like number 5 top selling games on Steam. Still. Fucking Starfield. That is crazy to know, even though Starfield's not out yet. It's still number 5 on Steam charts. Top selling game. A pre-order? How many copies of Starfield is being sold right now? And they can just play that shit in Game Pass. That's the beauty of it. It's top 5 on Steam in sales. And they can literally play that shit in Game Pass. You said you never seen people afraid of a game like they are afraid of Starfield? Because people are scared that Starfield is actually gonna be as good as they think it is. And if you're not since Xbox owns it, and they literally delayed the game. Let Bethesda do what the fuck they want. Like, just get this game the best y'all want it to be, and we're gonna drop this bitch when y'all ready for it. That is fine. That's lovely. They wanted to hit a date because their fans would have loved that shit. If we would have got that shit in November, like we got Skyrim, that would have been fucking magnificent. But if the game was gonna be unpolished because of it, that was gonna hurt. That was gonna hurt all the fans. But they didn't. Microsoft was like, yeah, I can delay it. Because we know how much money have they made on Starfield already? Game's not even out yet. And let the game come out and actually be as good as everybody think it is. Actually be as good as what Todd Howard and them showed us it was going to be. That is going to hurt a whole lot of people that first talk shit about Starfield. And 2, the people that won't get to play it because they don't have the platform for it. And they're scared that they're actually going to miss out. That's a real fear people have. The fear of missing out. People have that. And they don't want it. So they want Starfield to be bad. So they don't have that fear of missing out no more. And that's why like the Larian, like the PlayStation fanboys on Twitter that host held Larian Studios up. I seen a tweet. It was like NBG. This he's one of the biggest PlayStation fanboys on the YouTube internet, bro. Why the fuck is he out here telling people that fucking Baldur's Gate 3 is time exclusive to PlayStation? And I'm talking about Larian Studios developers themselves like, it's not time exclusive to PlayStation, bro. Get the fuck out of here with the fanboyism. Because it's crazy for you to say. They have to work harder on the Xbox version. It's gonna take them longer. Because they have to optimize it for the Series S. A lot of people don't want that. Developers probably don't want that either. They don't have to work harder. I can't see. I heard that. I heard MBG used to be an Xbox guy, until the PlayStation 4 demolished Xbox One, and then he became a PlayStation guy. So it's so strange that he got all like how I got the Mass Effect things on my wall. He has PlayStation things all over his wall, but like he didn't used to like PlayStation, which is strange. That's a strange thing to know. That like even if Xbox stopped making Xbox stuff and I just become a PC gamer and I buy Xbox games and play Game Pass on PC, why the fuck would I get rid of my Xbox stuff? I bought that shit. I bought it because I liked it, not because I'm a fanboy. This is shit that I actually have. I own these things. Mass Effect Andromeda, that fucking car, I bought that car. I drove that car one time. Cause they give you a little app on your phone. He was begging Phil to make Sunset Overdrive 2 back in the days. That is crazy. See, I like Sunset Overdrive, but I don't think I like Sunset Overdrive that much to require a second game. I don't think that like Rise Son of Rome, I would have asked for Rise Son of Rome 2. Because that game was so different from Crytek that I really want to see another one. I bought like the legendary edition of fucking Rise Son of Rome. I have every piece of DLC imaginable. I tried to play online a little bit, but I was getting my ass beat, so I just left. I wasn't that good. Like niggas are real good at that game. But like I played through the story like 2 or 3 times. That's just actually a really good fucking game. Even though it's one of those like clicky games. Even it's one of those games where like you just hit them hard enough, execute them. But like the executions were so nice, you just level up to get new ones. What'd you say? Get rid of the S? No, keep the S. The S is a useful thing. The S is the reason Xbox is selling consoles. The X is for the people that want more power from their console, which they get that. The S is the console Microsoft wanted to sell because it's cheaper to make, cheaper to manufacture, cheaper to ship around, and everybody's digital. So all the money Microsoft gets from the S people is gonna be 2 times, 3 times as much money as they're getting from the X people. Cause you don't understand. See, look, when Call of Duty backwards compatibility was blowing up for the whole July, that whole piece of July where everybody's playing Call of Duty, everybody that bought an S had to buy Call of Duty on the Microsoft store. Everybody with an X probably went in a back pocket like I did, grabbed the case off the wall, and just popped Black Ops 1 in. Pop Black Ops 2 in. Because I owned those games back then. I have those. The discs are over there. So like they didn't make any money on that. You said to stop licking your lips. But that's the thing. All the money they make off the S is money going to Xbox. They're going to fund things that we're going to get on the X that's going to be better. It's going to be better on the X. We all know it is. But to say like the S is holding back the X is the craziest shit imaginable. It's the wildest shit imaginable. Because what was holding back God of War Ragnarok when it came out on PlayStation 4? Nothing, because it was exactly the same game. It just looked better. It played at 60 frames per second. That was it. If it's going to take developers longer to scale their game to the Series S, Then let them do their fucking job. I'm not here to be like, oh, devs need an easy workload. No, they don't give a fuck about me at work. When I'm managing fucking 4 restaurants at a time, I gotta make sure motherfuckers come to work and do their job. They don't give a fuck about me, bro. They don't give a fuck. You're in charge. You're making the game. That means you need to work hard to make this game as good as possible. You want people to buy it, don't you? You want people to experience the game. And if they didn't want to, they wouldn't launch it on Xbox. Every developer in the world knows Xbox has 2 SKUs, the Series S and the Series X. If they don't want to develop for the S, you can't develop for the X, then don't put your game on Xbox. That's exactly what Microsoft said. But they want to put their game on Xbox. They have fans over there and they care about their fans. So they're going to make the game on Xbox. Does it have to come out the same time as PlayStation? No. Sony can get the game first. That's not going to change the game from Larian Studios. All it's going to do is have fanboys on Twitter like, haha, we get Baldur's Gate first. And it's like, are you actually going to play it? No, because you didn't play Divinity 1 or 2. You didn't play a single Larian Studios game. But oh, since Baldur's Gate 3 is a big deal, you're going to act like you're going to play it. Of course. Of course. Go play Divinity. Then come back. We'll really see if you're really a fan of Larian Studios or not. Most people don't even know what Divinity is. But they see Baldur's Gate 3 is a big ass name. It's a big ass deal. And they want to jump on that bandwagon. That's crazy. You said you bought a Series X for yourself and 2 Series S's for the kids, and I think that Microsoft does anything, they should get rid of the parity clause that said I have the same games for both consoles. I mean, what do you mean by parity clause? Because they want the same game launching on both consoles. I mean, on both SKUs. I don't think they should get rid of that. Because they would literally be making 3 different games. Damn, that shit reposted like 3 times. You said I bought a Series X, not an S. I don't care if the game that I run or not. It's the principle. It's not the principle. It's like everybody that bought an Xbox One and then they bought a One X, because I have a One X right here and I have an Xbox One right there. That means if I got an Xbox One and a One X came out and I couldn't fucking afford it, and then Gears 5 came out on Xbox One X, and I got fucking Gears 4 Pro on an Xbox One because they didn't want to work hard enough to give me the same game. No, bro, that doesn't make sense. That really doesn't make sense. I understand. I bought an X too. My X is right here, bro. I got the fridge and everything. Like, what do you say? I have an X. But there's no way I'm going to be like, I don't care about the S. Because I used to be a poor person. I used to not have money, bro. If I was one of those people still and I bought an S, I would want my game to be the same game as the other Xbox people. Why would I want a different game, bro? That's like us right now on the X playing Minecraft, and then everybody on the S playing Minecraft Mobile. That's exactly what the fuck you're saying, bro. Just like, yeah, don't even put the game on the S. Ignore it. Why would they ignore a whole mass of people? Why would they ignore a whole mass of people? That's kind of like saying you should only sell the game physical. That is exactly that. That means everybody without a disc drive can't play the game. Like, oh, you didn't buy the one with the disc drive? You don't get to play the game then. We only sell physical discs. We're not going on the digital store. You're going to isolate a whole how many people for that? See, if you used to be poor too, why the hell would you want the poor people to not get the same quality of game as you? Why would you want to exile them? Because they're poor. Or because they don't have the most powerful machine as you. That is what it sounds like. Like, oh, you should have bought a more powerful console if you wanted all the features. Oh, those features can work on this console. You just have to work harder to put them on there. Let them do their job, bro. They don't need to cut off parity because you want the X version to actually be better than the S1. It's gonna be better, superficially. Just like every PC owner. I don't have a fucking 4090 series PC. But I know every 4090 PC is gonna be better than mine. I mean, but 60 frames is the same on every PC you run on. Unless your PC literally trash and you can't run on 60 frames. But they all have the same features. NVIDIA GPU, AMD GPU. The only features they have that are like different from each other, FSR and DLSS. That is it. I mean, Starfield is 30 frames. At base level, Starfield is 30 frames on every platform. It's just their platform is more powerful than yours, so it can run 60 frames. That's not a feature issue. That's a hardware issue. What are you saying? That's a hardware issue. If it can run 30 frames on Xbox, both of them, the same game, no features removed, but the PC version is better, that is going to be the case for every fucking game. The PC version of every game is going to be better. No matter what generation you're on, no matter how next gen your console is, the PC version of the game will always be better. Because it's the PC version of the game. Yes, Baldur's Gate 3 has split screen as a feature, bro. Yeah. That feature's not on PC, by the way. That's a console feature. That's a console feature. Because the PC version of the game doesn't need split screen. Xbox could get the PC version of the game on Xbox. But Larian wanted to make a feature for console people because Larian Studios has put that in Divinity 1 and 2. They have split screen multiplayer. The PC version of the game doesn't get split screen multiplayer. There's no split screen on PC. Not really, anyway. You can mod it in, probably. But PC also gets to mod their game. They have parties up to 16 people on PC. You only can have 4. You only have 4 on console. But on PC, you have 16 people playing the game at the same time. I mean, you can never demand better features at all. Unless you go make those features yourself. You just buy the games that got the features you want. If the game doesn't have the feature you want, don't buy the game. If Starfield doesn't have 60 frames, don't play Starfield. You only play games that have 60 frames in it. That is a thing you can do. You're a consumer, bro. You can't demand them to do anything. They're creating. You're consuming what they create. There's a levels to this, Doc. You know this. You said, can the Series X run Baldur's Gate? Yes. The Series S can too. Larian Studios already said the game runs on the Series S. Perfectly fine. The only thing that doesn't run is split screen, which they have to optimize more to get it working properly. That is it. What are you saying? Larian Studios already said the game runs perfectly fine on the Series S. It's not holding anything back. It's just they don't want to cut split screen, so they're going to make it fucking work. That's them doing their job. They want this feature in their game, so they're going to make it work in their game on the hardware they're provided. It's not holding anything back. They could have easily gave us the Baldur's Gate 3 version that they gave to PC. They didn't say it can't do split screen. It just doesn't work that well. I mean, of course the X can do split screen. It has more RAM. This is all about VRAM. I mean, neither of them is the problem. There's no problem here. If you're trying to make split screen a problem, the solution is to cut it out completely. But if it's not a problem, then that's why they're working on it. You say I'm not getting the game because of a console I didn't buy. No, you're not getting the game because Larian Studios said they want to keep the game parity. They don't want to cut features out of game they built. That's why you're not getting the game. Not because of Series S. It's because Larian Studios wants the game to be the same on the platforms they provided. So if you don't like Larian Studios trying to keep their game the same on every platform, then don't buy Larian Studios games, bro. If Xbox's parity said you gotta have parity, they could have skipped Xbox altogether, Doc. Why did they choose to port on Xbox then? This is Larian Studios' choice. They said it on their blog post. They said it on their live stream. The Series S can run the game. They want to get split screen working because that's a feature they bring to console. That's why they're working on it. They could have waited. They said that. Oh, we could have waited. We could have launched the game without it, but they don't want to. They want the console experience to be the same on both of them. Yes, the salute. Like if you're really upset that Larian Studios is trying to work to get the game running the same on both SKUs of Xbox, then just don't get the game. You don't have to worry about it then. You don't have to worry about it then. Or you can literally just get it on PlayStation in 2 weeks. You can play a split screen on there. When it comes to Xbox and it has split screen, everything will be fine. I'm not understanding because I don't see what you see, bro. You said if the S didn't exist, this would be. I mean, if the S didn't exist, Larian Studios wouldn't be trying to keep parity of anything. They wouldn't need to. You keep saying holding back the X. How is it holding it back? Because games don't launch non-simultaneously on the X or the S because the X version is already done. You're like, oh, we have to wait because the S version is not done. Yeah, that's what happens when you make two different systems, bro. That is what happened. You signed up for it by buying an Xbox. You signed up for parity by buying an Xbox. You knew it was going to be parity when you bought an Xbox. But now, since your X has to wait, since the X have to wait for the S to get the proper treatment it needs, because Microsoft was like, no, you're not going to treat the S like second class citizens. You're like, just get rid of the S. We bought an X because we wanted good power in our console. We're going to have that. But they bought an S because they wanted a cheap way into next gen. So do they not get that because you want your games faster, Doc? That is outrageous. That is outrageous. That is an outrageous thing to say. They cut parity because you want your games faster on the X. You said the X, how? Don't you play your games at 4K? The S only does 1080p, 1440p max. Don't you have more storage on the X? Is it frames higher on the X? What are you? How is it a waste of money when you're getting what you bought? You bought the stronger console because the X is stronger than the S. That means everything you do on the X is better than the S every time. That's not a thing. You said Redfall and Starfield are both 30 frames. Did you did you not listen to Todd Howard say he capped it at 30 because he wanted to? Did you not listen to that part? Did you're upset that developers are literally not giving the X too much more than the S. You can't cap anything on PC. Cause PC niggas would just uncap it. PC people would literally mod the game to uncap it, bro. Why would you cap it on PC? You can't cap anything on PC, Doc. You never could. You never could, even back when PCs were literally big boxes with no GPUs in them. You couldn't cap anything on PC. That shit was gonna run off CPU alone, and it was gonna keep pushing until the CPU broke. He capped it on a console because consoles have caps. Consoles has always had caps since the PlayStation 2, since the original Xbox, since the 360, since the PlayStation 4. Every console has had a cap, Doc. They always had a cap, and it was always 30 frames. So if they cap it at 30 because they want to cap it at 30, how are they lying? How are they lying? It doesn't make sense, bro. What are you trying to say? Because consoles has always had caps. You said it's dumb that a $200 console is holding back. How is it holding anything back, bro? I turn on my Series X and I enjoy myself, bro. I don't even own an S. I couldn't even tell you the experience of an S owner. But I don't know anybody that has an S that complains about the S because they know what they bought. I know what I bought. I bought a Series X. This bitch boot up fast as hell, 4K 60. It has an SD in it. It got an SD in it. I'm cooking. I got an Elite controller. It feels good. It plays good. It starts up fast. You know, when I boot up my 360, I mean not my 360. When I boot up my Xbox One, I notice, I notice the raw power of the Xbox Series X because I boot up my Xbox One and I be waiting for the fucking menu to pop up. You know how pampered we are with the Xbox Series X and S. That you literally, I don't have, there's no boot up sequence on the Xbox no more. That's gone. They alleviated that. There's no boot up on most games no more. Literally, I press a game and I launch a game. We're pampered as hell on Xbox as console owners, but you're looking at the PC like the grass is greener on the other side, bro. This is what it is. The grass is always greener on the other side, Doc. There's always going to be things you don't have. You said it would be greater if the S didn't exist. It wouldn't be greater. It would still be Xbox. It would still be Xbox. If Xbox is great, why the S is here, it wouldn't be better because the S is gone. You're just saying that because you would get games faster. Like, oh, the PlayStation get the game before us because the S. Wow, that's crazy. Timed exclusivity has always been a thing. Even if this one is not timed exclusivity, it's literally just manpower. It's literally just a manpower issue. That's why they delayed the game. Faster games isn't going to make the game much better. They delayed the game on PlayStation 2. Do you not remember? Why? Because they need to optimize it more. Larian said that themselves. They have to delay it on PlayStation because they need to optimize it more. That means it's a manpower issue. But if they complete the PlayStation version fast and the Xbox version takes a little longer, that's fine. They don't have to hold the PlayStation thing back because you bought an Xbox. Why would they have to do that? Why would they have to do that? And because you bought an X, you think they need to launch the X one and hold the S one back because you bought an X. That is entitledness, bro. That is the most entitled things I ever heard of. You're not entitled to anything because you bought a console. You bought a console to play games, dude. You're not entitled to anything, bro. They don't need to do anything faster because you want it faster. Everybody wants things. You can wait, bro. Or you can just play it on your PlayStation. Or play it on PC. It's already out. The game is already being played by people. There's different ways to play this game everywhere. But you bought it on Xbox. You're waiting for it to get playable on Xbox. What is the problem? Because the PlayStation version of the game is one version of the game. Because the PC version of the game is already done. They launched that. Then they was like, we need to work on the PlayStation version of the game because it's closer to being done. They launched that. The Xbox version of the game is not done yet. So they're going to launch the Xbox version of the game when it's done. What are you not getting? You said, why would they hold the PlayStation 5 version? I mean, that's not the same logic because the X and S version of the game are the same. Why would they make 3 versions of the game when they can make 2? That doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense, Doc. That's what you're not getting. The Series S and X versions of the game are the same game. There's no two different versions of Xbox games. There's one Xbox version, there's one PlayStation version, there's one PC version. PC version is done. They launched it. The PC fans love it. PlayStation version will be done, and they're going to launch it in 2 weeks. Hopefully, PlayStation fans love it. And when the Xbox version of the game is done, hopefully, Xbox fans love it. What are we not getting from that? What are we not getting from that? They're not making an X version and an S version. They're making an Xbox version. And the Xbox version is not done. You said they aren't the same game. The PS5 version of the game can run Xbox. You got to figure out how to make it run on the S. It can run. The only thing they're trying to figure out is split screen multiplayer. There's the. How am I contradicting myself? What are you saying? Because the PlayStation 5 version of the game is going to be done in 2 weeks and they're going to launch it? Larian is an independent studio. They don't have to hit release dates. They make this game because they wanted to. They're not obligated to do anything. They wanted to make the game on console, so they brought the game to console. It's going on PlayStation first because why? That was the easier game to develop for. The PlayStation 5 has an easier development cycle. Why? Because you only have to make the PS5 version of the game, optimize it up, and it's done. Xbox, on the other hand, you have to optimize the game for two different GPUs and CPUs, and it's the same game. So, like PC, they have to optimize that game way more than they do on PlayStation. So, if they can optimize it faster on PlayStation, they're going to do that. They don't have to wait. They're an independent studio. They're indie. They can drop the game whenever they want. You said I literally said it. I literally said it was easier to develop for the PlayStation 5. Every developer in the gaming industry knows the PlayStation 5 is easier to develop for. It's closer to the PS4 than the Xbox One is to the Xbox Series S and X. Xbox literally built a completely different system that developers have to develop for. Sony built an upgraded version of the PS4 Pro, a game system they already knew how to develop for. So, of course, it's easier to develop for. That's why the game can come faster. Because they already have the development tools. Because they already been developing for that system. They didn't change anything. Microsoft changed everything. And then they made two versions of that everything that they changed. And they have to work on those. So they have to optimize this game to run on both of those. It's not holding back the X. You like if you're thinking just on time, like, oh, since I want to play this game faster, it's just taking more time. Yes, it's taking more time. So if you're saying, oh, it's holding back the X because it takes more time to develop, yes, it is. It is holding back the X because it takes more time to develop games. It's not a hardware issue. It's a time issue. Larian Studios said it. Blizzard said it. Bethesda said it. How many other developers have to say it? It's just time. It just takes more time. Literally, id Software got Doom Eternal running on a Nintendo Switch. You think they didn't take more time? Of course it took more time. It not only did it take more time, it took more money. It took more resources from the company. They could be making something else. But no, they made a Switch version of Doom Eternal. And that bitch ran well on the Nintendo Switch. Why didn't the Switch version come out when the Xbox and PlayStation version did? Probably because it took more time to develop for it. So was the Switch holding back those other consoles? No. They just took a little longer to make, so they made it. This man account says Google Play account. Like the PS5 SSD is next gen though. I mean, the only thing that's different about the PS5 and the PS4 is the SSD. That's literally it. I mean, I guess you can take Smart Shift into account, maybe, because you can clock up and down the GPU and CPU based on how developers' engines run the game. Because there's some CPU based games where like you need a powerful CPU and the GPU is not really doing much because there's a lot of artifacting and shit going on screen and the CPU has to take all that. And there's a lot of GPU heavy games. So PlayStation is one of those things that you can like tune it and be like, okay, I need more GPU than CPU. They can cut that down. Xbox has two set clocks and two set GPU clocks that you have to work under, and a set amount of RAM. Now if the VRAM issue wasn't a thing, then nobody would have an issue making Xbox games. But since there's less VRAM on the S than the X, they have to work harder, and it takes longer. This is them doing their job. But to say, oh, it's holding back because you want games faster, that's just entitlement. You can literally go play the game somewhere else. You know you can. But you rather complain about not being able to play it because of the Series S. That's a strange thing to do. If you want to play the game, you would just go play the game. I understand you want to play it on your X. I mean, I wanted to play Persona on my X for the longest time. I waited 15 years for fucking not platinum, for the Persona Studio to literally put the games on Xbox. Sometimes you wait. I literally played Persona 4 on PC. Now it's on Xbox. I can play it on Xbox now. But I played it on PC. They didn't hold anything back. It's just they didn't want to waste the time putting it on Xbox. Now they do. They put that shit on Xbox. I got to play it, and I enjoyed myself. It's still the same fucking game though. Did it take a little longer? Yep, it did. You said, hold on. You said, how do you know I can play it somewhere else? That sounds entitled. How do you know I still got my PS5 or a PC? Because you told me in your video, bro. You literally said it in your video. Your PS5 is upstairs. You said it yourself. If you weren't a content creator, if I didn't watch your videos, I wouldn't be making those assumptions. But since I have the knowledge that you gave me, that you have a PS5, in 2 weeks, you could be playing Baldur's Gate 3 having a good old time, and this holding back argument wouldn't even be a thing. Because if it was about the game, you would just go play it. You said, well, you sold it. Oh, I mean, you chose to sell it. You had one. What do you mean? You had the option to sell it too. There's some people that literally have to wait. And they're choosing to wait. I could have bought Baldur's Gate 3 years ago. I saw that biz launch in early access. My friends played the first part of the game. But I don't really buy games in early access unless I really want to play them. I don't really like playing on PC. And especially with keyboard and mouse. So I was like, I'll just wait for it to come to console. And I'm going to be waiting another year. That's fine, bro. There's plenty of games to play. Game Pass is still dropping every day. Quake 2 just got remastered. It's in Game Pass right now. I have plenty of games to play. You think I can't wait on Baldur's Gate 3 because it's the hype right now? Just because it's the hype right now. And oh, you attach that hype to PlayStation because that video comes out first. I mean, I'm going to watch it too, Doc. Like, you make the video about it, I'm going to watch it. I'm going to watch that video. It's not like I'm not. You said, how do you show chat on screen? So you get a chat overlay because I use OBS. So you'll get a chat overlay. You'll probably have to like build one. Like build a chat overlay to insert into OBS. And then you will have to link your chat from wherever you stream from. So like if you stream from Twitch or you stream from YouTube, you have to get that stream link from the chat square that you have, and you have to paste it into OBS, and then it'll just run the chat how it runs on YouTube. Yeah, I just use basic OBS because Streamlabs got a whole lot of shit in it I don't want to deal with. I'm pretty basic when it comes to everything. So I mean OBS works for me. I learned the whole system. I got all my things running right. So yeah. Streamlabs might have one built in because I know Streamlabs is like built for streamers. Use another argument is Xbox has no games. Pony can cite facts of how somehow true. That's really BS. I mean, when people say Xbox have no games, they just talk about games that gets mass media attention. So with games like Baldur's Gate 3, for example, Xbox don't get Baldur's Gate 3 for another year, maybe 6 months. You taking the Xbox title away from Kid Smooth and myself with this one. What do you mean? I play games, bro. It doesn't matter where the fuck I play the game at. I play the game where I choose to. I just chose to play the game on Xbox for 3 generations because it was convenient. I had a 360. It was bought for me. It was an elite model. That shit was amazing. I love that thing. Then I got an Xbox One. That motherfucker right there. And I enjoyed that shit. Even though PlayStation 4 was literally shitting on it in every metric. I still had an Xbox One. Not because it was popular, it's because that's the console I like using. You say it's an Xbox. It's not an Xbox channel. It's a gaming channel, bro. This is a gaming channel. I upload gaming videos, gaming news videos, and me playing games. I happen to be doing that on Xbox, but I didn't buy an Xbox to play Xbox games. I didn't buy an Xbox to be an Xbox fan. I bought an Xbox because those 2 games right there on my wall are playable on Xbox. And I can boot them bitches up and play them bitches at higher frames and better resolution on my Xbox easily. No extra charge to me. It's cheap. I literally can just boot them bitches up and play it as many times as I want. Over and over again. You can't do that on the PlayStation. You can't do that on the Nintendo Switch. So where did I go? To Xbox. So I mean, they can say it's an Xbox channel. But if Xbox gives me what I want as a gamer, I'm going to keep buying an Xbox. Until Xbox stop making Xboxes. And then I'll probably just transition to PC forever. Unless Sony gets quick resume. And then, then maybe I'll fuck with a PlayStation if they get quick resume. Hold on, he said, I think we'll see next Series X a year after the PlayStation 5 Pro. Because the same thing as last gen, PlayStation 4 Pro and Xbox. No, I don't think Xbox is going to make another one. Mostly because it's already taking longer to develop for the Xbox Series X and S at the same time. Simultaneously. That's already taking too much time. You think they're going to add a third, more powerful Xbox into the equation? That's madness. That is madness, bro. I don't think they're going to do it. Because not only just third-party developers have to do it, first-party developers have to do it. And not all of them are built the same. Not every one of them could be Bethesda Game Studios or Obsidian Entertainment. No. All of them are not id Software. We have smaller studios on the Xbox team that literally can't do all of that. You gotta imagine holding back and not having an answer to the PlayStation 5 Pro. I mean, the PS5 Pro would still be competing with the Xbox Series X. And then the PlayStation would have the same problem Xbox has. Because it's going to be two different SKUs on the market that developers have to develop for. Is the PlayStation 5 Pro going to have smart shift like the PlayStation 5? Or will it be different? Will the SSD be more powerful, more faster? So then games are going to be held back by the PS5 because the SSD is too slow? Because those are narratives that are going to get ran on the PS5 side if they make a PS5 Pro. It's going to be the same exact narratives being ran on the Xbox right now. If Microsoft make a third console, they're going to add to that, which is outrageous. It doesn't make sense. And I don't understand why console fans want consoles to compete with PCs so bad. You said would you Sony ponies would mock that and say Xbox would demand better. Change the Xbox said. I mean, nah. I mean, if they did, oh well. I mean, that'd be them. If Xbox really have to compete with a PS5 Pro, then they would have to. But you also can play Xbox games on a Samsung TV with no console at all. So why would they really need another console? Microsoft has already transcended the console market. That's why when Sony can say I sold 40 million consoles and Microsoft was like, yeah, that's cute. Because they're not making money on console sales anyway. I mean, you can say that, but Fieldham doesn't have to. Because the PlayStation 5 really need a Pro model, that means Xbox is doing something right. If PlayStation 5 really needs a Pro model, like if Sony's really banking on a Pro model coming out, Xbox is doing something right. Because Xbox needed the Pro model before. The Xbox One was underpowered against the PlayStation 4. So they built a more powerful Xbox. They needed that. But if PlayStation think they really need a Pro model to compete with Xbox, Xbox is doing something right. You said it worked well that the last Xbox last gen was more powerful. I mean, because they only had the Xbox One to deal with. That's why it worked well. Because they had the Xbox One, which was only a fucking 800p console, 900p max, versus the 1080p PlayStation 4. The PlayStation 4 was already the better console on the market, hardware wise. And then the software started to really ramp up 4 years in. The PlayStation 4 games start rolling out. Then you got Spider-Man, you got God of War, you got Ghost of Tsushima, you got fucking Horizon Zero Dawn. All those games came out 4 years after the PS4 was already out. 4 or 5 years after the console already came out. Those games started producing. People start buying them. The the PS4 took over the gaming market. Xbox had nothing because the power wasn't there. Even if they developed the game, it couldn't look good or run as well as a PS4 game. So they needed the Xbox Series X. They needed that. And it worked because every game on Xbox Series X ran fucking phenomenal. It looked good, it ran good. Gears 5 made the Xbox Series X, the Xbox One X look like a next gen console. And then next gen came out. But the PlayStation 4 Pro was only needed because Xbox was developing another console mid-gen. Because they were getting their ass stumped on with the Xbox One. PlayStation 5 is winning. Still, 40 million consoles in. Why would they need a Pro model right now? They're not even losing the power narrative. Xbox is not going to make another console. You said I think they would need a replacement for the Series X after PS5 Pro. I could see them not responding and fans letting them not respond. I mean, how more powerful can the PS5 Pro be than the Xbox Series X? And they're trying to sell this bitch at $500. Just think about that. Because those fake specs that came out, there's no way there's going to be a $500 console. That means if Sony want to go out on a limb, make a PS5 Pro, price that bitch at $700, and they think people are going to buy it, they're stupid, bro. Bro, Unreal Engine 5 is an engine, bro. Fortnite is running on Unreal Engine 5 on PS4. What do you mean? Unreal Engine 5 is not revolutionary. It is not changing the dynamic of games. It is just an easy engine to develop games for. UE5 is not a demanding engine. Unity is a demanding engine. CryEngine is a demanding engine. Frostbite is a demanding engine. Unreal Engine is the simplest and easy engine to optimize games for. That's why everybody uses it. UE5 is not as demanding as CryEngine. Why do you think nobody tries to go use CryEngine? UE5 is simple, it's free, and it's not that demanding. That's why people use it. Why would they go out on a limb and use the more demanding engine? Developers are not going to do that. I've seen UE5 demos from just random people on the internet. Ask them to go build that shit in Blender. Go build that shit in Unity. They're gonna be like, why the fuck would I do that? UE5 makes it easy. It's not that demanding. That's why they can scale that shit up and down, in and out. You can't do that shit on Frostbite. Even though Frostbite is a better looking engine, it's a better running engine, it's too demanding for engines. You say I'm not a developer. I think UE5 would be popular. I mean, UE5 was already popular. UE4 was popular. Unreal is a free, easy to use engine. Of course it's going to be popular. Indie devs use it. Big AAA devs use it. Epic themselves use it. More demanding consoles, everybody's not going to just go to UE5. Why do you think Bethesda's still using Creation Engine? Because every developer has an engine. It is not going to switch to UE5. They have id Tech. There's some people that use their own engines. They're not just going to switch to UE5 because UE5 is just, it's always been widely available. But it's not that customizable. It's a simple, easy engine. You can get your game across. You can get your game built, get it running. That's what UE has always been. I mean, that's because the Red engine wasn't that good. So if the Red engine wasn't that good, of course they're going to switch. They can they can build a game easier in Unreal than they can do their own Red engine. The limitations they figured out. Because the Red engine was hard to optimize all those versions of Cyberpunk for. So of course they're going to go to the easier engine. Which is UE. Unreal is the easier engine. Red engine was hard. They have all these new workers. They're all trying to learn Red, and Red is not working. So you saying it's more demanding? It's the opposite of what you just said about CD Projekt. Because the Red engine was more demanding than UE. So they're switching to UE. That is what that meant. They're not going to go to the harder engine because it looks cool. Cyberpunk looks amazing when it runs. If they can do Cyberpunk detail in UE easier, more efficiently, of course they're going to take that. Of course they're going to take that. Why the hell would they not? But to say that Mass Effect Andromeda and Mass Effect 3 built on two different engines, Mass Effect Andromeda looked amazing. Did it play amazing? Fuck no. It played better on UE. Unreal was the better game. But the Frostbite game looked amazing. But then their facial animations start fucking up. Guns start glitching out of your hand. And it's like, damn, this engine is doing some weird shit. Go back to UE. It was easier over there. We understand how UE works. That means that's the easier engine. So if they're going to use the easier engine, albeit, just make a good fucking game. I don't care what engine they use. But UE is not just going to revolutionize consoles. It's not going to revolutionize what your console can do because you're using Unreal. You know, Nanite and Lumen makes lighting less demanding. Like, have you watched the Unreal Engine videos of them talking about Nanite and Lumen and how they incorporated real-time lighting? So it's easier to do that instead of ray tracing? Because ray tracing is demanding in itself. You said the Matrix demo? The Matrix demo was good. And it used Nanite and Lumen on a Series S and a Series X. But you see how fast they got that engine? I mean, they got that out to be used. How many other tech demos have you seen launch on a console? From Crytek, from id Software, from Creation. Nobody's doing that. Why? Because that shit is going to be hard. I mean, the Matrix demo wasn't nothing but a couple QuickTime events and a chase sequence. We've seen that before many times. Are you talking about the detail and character models? The realism of of facial animation? That is new. But of course, technology is going to boost detail. But the gameplay that we got was not revolutionary. Things like no pop-in. I mean, things like no pop-in are optimization issues. When things pop in, is because you have too many things loading into VRAM at the same time. That is where pop-in comes from. So when you don't want pop-in, you need less things loading into VRAM at the same time. That's why they built loading screens. That's why they built like transition, like little mini games that they put in games, so then you don't get pop-in. You say, well, other engines don't pop in? Well optimized engines. A lot of engines pop in. They still pop in on PC. What do you mean? But if you go into Skyrim right now on an Xbox Series X and you download Open Cities, the mod, and the game takes like 20 minutes to load, but once you get into the game, nothing pops in. Did you know that? And that's Creation Engine 1. When you get into the game, nothing pops in. You can literally walk from Whiterun to Solitude and nothing will pop in because the game loads everything all at one time. So the whole world is loaded in. It takes fucking forever. But once the game is done loading the whole world, nothing pops in, bro. You can open a fucking city and walk straight down the street. It used to be a loading screen there. But they loaded everything before the game launched. So of course nothing is going to pop in. It took all that time to load all the assets, so nothing will pop in. No, I said Skyrim. Download the Open Cities mod on Skyrim on your Xbox Series X, and you won't see pop-in. Because they're going to load the whole fucking game before you get into the game. Pop-in is all about loading assets. And the Matrix demo didn't have many assets to load in. Because it was only a small piece of a small world. Of a segment of game. You can't use a demo of a piece of game and be like, this is the standard for gaming. No, it's not. That is a demo of what could be a good game. You said, what about Starfield? Do you think Starfield have no pop-in? Hell no. Because Starfield is 40 times bigger than Skyrim is. And they have to load all that shit up. They have to load all of it up for you to get to see it. All that shit loads into memory. All that shit is gonna load into memory. And then all that shit has to get distributed out of memory as fast as possible to get on your screen. That's not gonna be an engine thing. It's gonna be a hardware thing because they can juice the fuck out of a hardware build. They can get the most powerful supercomputer and run Starfield, and it's gonna be good. Yeah, it's Creation Engine 2. That's why they added real time. What the fuck is it called? Real time global illumination. So for every planet you land on, the sun is going to be in a different position, which casts different lighting on the planet. That is some crazy technology that they put into that engine. That's wild. That is crazy. What other game has that? None. Not a single fucking game can give you that right now. Starfield will be the first. It's not going to be the last. Because there's going to be other engines that incorporate that into their games. And they're going to get better games with more detail. This is just the beginning of new technology. That's why I say Starfield is probably the first next-gen game we're going to get. The next true next-gen game we're going to get is Starfield. Because they're pushing new technology crazy. Xbox can't handle all of it. That's why niggas cry about 30 frames per second. They capped it at 30 because that's how much they think the console can handle. Creation Engine 2 is a demanding fucking system. Why do you think so many things break? They call them Bugthesda for a reason. If they run a program, I don't know how the hell we got onto this. But yeah, if you run a program 9 out of 10 times and it works, but that one time it doesn't, that's a good program. You like those odds. With Bethesda, they probably run this game and 7 out of 10 times it runs perfectly. The codes are working. But there's 3 times where it doesn't. That's still a good fucking game. They're going to launch that. See, I think you're purposely leaving pieces out. Because I said Creation Engine 1, if you go download Open Cities on Skyrim, the mod, like it's a mod for the game. It's not because Creation Engine is going to have pop-in. But you download that mod and it loads all of that shit in at one time. Nothing can pop in because everything's already loaded. You can't have pop-in when things don't load. That's why loading happens in games and things pop in. So if you're not going to understand that part about it, I mean, you'll never understand pop-in for real. Because you can't use a demo, a perfectly tuned demo, as a metric for games for pop-in. That game is not real. It's a demo specifically made to show you the technology that could be used. Just like that one fucking rock demo that they showed for the PS5. Where the girl was like flying through the rocks and shit. Like, yeah, that's cute, no. We see the rock technology you use. We see the lighting technology you use. I mean, UE5 no pop-in. It's gonna be a fine-tuning thing for UE5. Because, I mean, we'll see there's plenty of games using UE5 right now. And they still have pop-in. It's not like they don't. Because how many assets you're putting into the loading is what's going to pop in. Pop-in is not a feature of UE5. It's just a loading thing. UE5 is not going to be the only engine that doesn't have pop-in. It's just how much shit are you trying to load at one time. You say all arguments always make their way back to Starfield? It does, bro. It does. That's because Starfield is going to be the bar. Technically. I'm not even going to say from like an industry. You say you don't think UE5 has pop-in? It definitely does. It definitely does. What are you talking about? You can go load up. What the fuck is it called? The goddamn game, Fortnite. You can go load up Fortnite right now and jump out the battle bus. You gonna see all that shit pop in, and that's UE5 running from Epic Games themselves. If that's not enough for you, I don't know what to tell you, buddy. Because Fortnite is running UE5. It is running UE5 right now. And if you jump out that battle bus and shit start popping in the distance, everything you just said about UE5 not having pop in goes to waste. It just goes right in the trash. You say if it is running full Nanite mode, what what Nanite have to do with anything? Nanite is the shit that they use to load in textures. It's the texture overlay of rocks and environments. But yeah, when the game has a lot of shit to load, it's gonna have pop in all the time. Unless you load in more things before the scene you get to. Which that's why loading screens exist. But if all these developers right now want to make no loading screens a thing, pop in is gonna happen. Because how do you slow down people's movement? Because everything gonna pop in if the scene loads too fast. So if you put flying in the game, if you put driving in the game, how do you keep things loading faster than the player can move? That means you slow the player down. Who wants to play a game in slow motion? Nobody. They want to play a game running at 60 frames, 120 frames, 240 frames per second. That means the player wants to move fast, and you want this game to not have loading screens? You said Nanite prevents texture pop in. Okay. Yeah, it does. But that means if you're going to load in a whole texture all the time, it's going to take longer to load that texture in. Because you see, there's games out that come now where like you'll open the loading screen and you'll see a figure load in, their clothes load in, their hair load in, and then their face loads in, and then the scars on their face loads in. Because that's how fast, I mean, that's the chain of things that load in at one time. And the faster you want that to load in, the more things are going to pop in behind it or around it. Environmental things like trees and shit that are tuned for every game, for every platform. Those things are going to pop in. Like even right now, the fastest moving game, Ratchet and Clank, Ripped Apart, PS5 SSD certified, has so much pop in on PC, it's crazy. Why? Because there's more things you can put to pop in on PC. There's more foliage, there's more people, there's more atmospheric things going around, there's more particle effects, and all of that shit combined together make the game have pop in. But on the PS5, nothing probably pops in. Why? Because they tuned that shit down that nothing has to load except the things that are already on the screen. Which is smart because it makes your game look better. Because look, no pop in, but your game is running at half power, so you can have no pop in. But if you have that game running at full fucking speed, full power, everything's gonna fucking pop in, bro. Because all that shit's loading at the same time, you don't have that much hardware. Nobody has that much computing power. Maybe NASA. Nobody has that much computing power, especially not in a fucking console. People expect too much from the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 4. I mean, PlayStation 5. People expect too fucking much. Like these bitches are not subpar 20 series GPUs, bro. People forget that. People forget that the Xbox Series X and the PS5 are literally worse than a 20 series GPU. PC is at 40 series now. 50 series is about to come out. PCs are shitting on consoles, and it's going to be shitting on consoles forever. Consoles are never going to catch up. No matter what engine you use, no matter what developer develops, the PC version of the game is always going to be superior, and console fans just have to fucking learn to deal with it. There's always going to be a superior product on PC. And when Xbox and PlayStation both start porting PC games, fans are starting to notice, like, why is the PC version of the game better than ours? Because PC's better than you. PC is better than console. It's always has been. It's always will be. Consoles are 3 generations behind PC GPUs. 3. We just got RDNA 2 and they're making RDNA 3 and 4. They're already preparing, and we still got RDNA 2 architecture. Developers are still trying to figure it out. And niggas on 30 series, 40 series, 50 series. Console fans need to catch up with technology, bro. They really think consoles are just like a product that transcends for all gaming. No. No, we can always take this back to Crysis 1. When Crysis 1 was destroying PCs, they could make a completely different game and ported it to console. So the console version of Crysis and the PC version of Crysis was 2 different fucking games. But console fans wouldn't know that. They wouldn't know because that's the game Crytek sold to you. This says Crysis 1. This is not Crysis 1 because a PC gamer can go load up Crysis 1 and do 3 times as much shit as the console man can. But they're like, wait, so this is the real Crysis? Yes. The real version of every game is going to be on PC. The console version of every game is going to be on console. Once people start understanding that about technology, we wouldn't have all these complaints. Because if they want the best version of a game, they would invest in a PC. If you want the simpler, easy version of the game, you buy a console. That's why we buy consoles. That's why I bought an Xbox. But this live stream has actually been going for almost 2 hours, bro. Actually been going for almost 2 hours. So I'm gonna need to end this right here. So thank y'all for coming out. Thanks everybody for watching. Make sure you like that video. I mean, like the stream. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hey, I make videos. Gaming News Weekly every Sunday, 1 o'clock. I need to probably move the timeline up. I might move it to 12. I could probably try 12 next week because Gamescom is coming and I definitely want to talk about that. But yeah, make sure you like the stream, subscribe, and I mean, this has been a good Gaming News Weekly. Bavari, thank everybody for coming out. Mo, Google Play account. I don't know. I don't know why your name is Google Play account, but hey, thanks for coming out. We talked. Hey, I had a good time. I like live streaming, bro. It's so good. Get caught. Hey, we get lost in the talk. Gaming news is great. It's fun. It's good. I know Bavari had to go. He said he only could be in for an hour. So yeah, I'll see y'all in the next one.